What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and we're talking about this today. That's right, we're talking about a football. Why in the world would I be talking about a football? Well, this could be the reason why we've had such bad kicking and probably maybe even some of the bad errant throws that we've had. Now, that bit is from me, but reports are coming out from those around the USFL that chip that they've been putting in these balls is causing issues with the spin on the balls that are throwing the kickers off, mainly for those field goals. If you've been paying attention to the USFL, there have been a lot of missed field goals, a lot of chip shots missed, and I don't think it has to do with these guys and their kicking abilities. And when you watch these guys, you look at some of their faces after they got done kicking, and it's almost like they expected something to happen and it didn't. Like the ball to spin a specific way and it just barely misses, or it's just like you could see that they kicked it to hook and it didn't hook. But that seems to be what's going on here. So if you take a football that's this size, and then you take a golf ball, which is about that size, and put it in there, that's what they're saying, is that this thing right here, has got a golf ball size chip in it, and that's what they're using with all of those cameras around the stadium to come up with that late 90s looking graphic thing to tell us that the ball's 8 inches away from the first down marker. I don't know. It sounds silly to me, but I just feel like it takes a golf ball inside of there to track it. You and I both know that they've got chips way, way smaller than that aren't, going to impede things that you can put inside that ball to give you a better take on things. Now, I have no clue if it's the leather that they use, what's going on that's keeping it, but there just seems to be, I've got all of these electronics going around, flat things in your phone and stuff, and you can't come up with something better that's not going to impede the ball. It just makes sense, right? When you've got something that has weight in it that's in the middle of a ball that normally isn't there. And I don't even know, have they been practicing with these balls the whole time that have these mechanisms in it? And I would totally agree with them that it is going to affect the kicking game, is going to affect the spin, and also too on your throws. Maybe that's why, if you notice, just about every long throw that any quarterback has made has been underthrown. I think I saw there was maybe one down the field throw that was actually overthrown. Most of them have been either off target or have been underthrown. And I'm not trying to take away from the fact that, and make excuses for the USFL on some of the play. The quarterback play needs to step up. The reality of it is that football in today's day and age, you have to have a quarterback. You just have to, or it's just going to be bad. I don't care what Wilson thinks with the Pittsburgh Maulers. He is going to lose every game this season if he does not decide to change up his offense. And you know what? You need to get rid of a few of those big guys and bring in some of those fast wide receivers, because if not, you're going to have a rough season and probably not be brought back for next season. But I digress. When you look at the XFL and what the XFL did with their ball was skinnier, it was more slender, and what it did was actually enhance the throwing ability of the quarterback. And one of the things, like when I sat down and I was, talking with, good night, Ernesto. When I was talking with Ernesto Locayo, and Ernesto, I apologize for not getting your name right off the bat, but when Ernesto was telling me that a normal NFL football is a lot wider and fatter than the XFL football was. And he said he's used to, the arena or indoor football that, those a lot of times are made out of rubber. They're skinnier, they're smaller. and they're, easier to throw around, easier to kick. So it was easier for him to get used to the XFL ball as a lot of those guys who are traditionally kicking with the NFL balls, because it was a little bit more of a slenderer shape. And I'm not saying that the the USFL needs to go through and do that, but I think that they need to put a little bit more attention into the ball, and just instead of branding it, I think that they need to really change up this ball, because I think that it really is starting to, show in the play that's happening on the field. And again, I'm not trying to, there was a lot of bad play. Part of it's weather. They had, slippery balls and that with it. It just, the XFL, when they came out, they went into detail about how they really worked on the grip of the ball to make sure that the ball gripped well and that with it. And I'm not saying that the XFL play, remember, we got 5 weeks of it. The XFL play, we got 1 week with the USFL, and I know that, I think the XFL got about 2 more weeks with the players, maybe even 3 weeks if you count in that, that little thing where they all got together, then everybody went home for the holidays, then they all came back and were ready for training camp. I think maybe a total of 2 to 3 weeks more than what the USFL guys are getting, so I get that with it. But I still think that the first week product was overall probably better. Now, that first game was just phenomenal. It was awesome. It was a great atmosphere, and that's really what's keeping this thing going. But they really need to figure a thing out with the ball. And some people suggest we'll just take it out for the kicking game. I think it's affecting the whole passing game as well, and I think you need to take that chip out, and you need to figure out something small that you can put in there that's almost like a film. I don't understand why it takes this big honking thing in there. Get some team around Fox. You got the money, and figure this thing out, because I really do like removing the chains. I don't like messing around with that chain game. I love the flow of the game, how it just flows. It continues to go on. We just need to get this ball situation figured out, because it definitely is affecting the game. Now, is it affecting it as much as what I'm thinking? Who knows? I don't know. But I do know that a lot goes into that with the players, the ball, and the way that they throw the ball. And it just seems to be right now there's just too much missing for these guys. And again, there's a lot of factors. The O-lines, I think that they aren't fully, kind of in sync with one another. There's a lot of that type of stuff going on that I think as we get into week 3, I think that you'll see a lot of that dissipate. But I still think that it's affecting the ball when you get into long throws and when you're kicking the ball. I think that that's an issue, and it needs to be addressed. And it needs to be addressed, I think, probably before the end of the season. And I would bet right now Fox has their people working on it to where this isn't anything new with them. But those are just my thoughts with it. I think something needs to be done. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and we'll continue it on down there. All right, listen, guys, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.